Hi everyone. Please let me know if you hear me properly in the chat. Thank you. Please let me know if you hear me. I will start in 5 minutes. I'm just curious if you can hear. Oh, thank you. I was typing, but I see the answer now, so great. I posted the link for the reference photo. I'm very curious who will paint with me. If anyone plan to paint along with me, please let me know in the chat so I can adjust or wait or whatever if I have to. Hello. Hello, Eva. Where are you located right now? Sounds like a Hungarian name. Also, please, anybody who's planning to paint, let me know. Because it's just better if I know if somebody is painting along so I can adjust or help. But if I paint alone, then it's a different situation. Yeah, I'm currently in Seattle, quite far. Cool. I'm reading Chris' message, so there will be at least one person who paint along. I'm very happy. That's very rare, although I'm doing this as a tutorial, so I would be very happy if a lot of us paint. So I'm telling what I'm using. Okay, so maybe it helps. So I'm using a watercolor paper. Honestly, any kind of real watercolor paper would work, I think. But what I'm using is Arches, 14 by 20 inches, cold press in a block. So it's a watercolor block. The green that is because my phone connect through Wi-Fi. I really hope it will be better than last week. Last week I had a lot of technical difficulties. I tried Fabriano Artistico. I'm also answering for Chris. I tried Fabriano Artistico, and I read very good reviews and everything, but for me, it waved. It waved up terribly when I used Wet n Wet. I don't know, I just have a bad experience, like a bad batch or some problematic paper or what. I still have the block here. It didn't work for me. It's so weird. And I know people love it, absolutely love Fabriano Artistico. So I need to try again, I guess. And a lot of people, I heard people complaining Arches recently because of sizing issues. Although I bought this paper many, many years ago, so I cannot say, I still have some leftover, so I cannot talk about recent experience. So I have a watercolor pencil to make the sketch. Oh, okay, so you have the same experience with Arches. Yeah. Sometimes I recognize this with other papers. Sometimes the block, when it stays in the block format, it gets more wave than without the block. So probably what I will try surface, because this gluing on the edges somehow restrict the paper to flatten out. But with Arches, it's waving a little bit. Every paper waving a little bit when you wet it completely. But this one was quite mild. Yeah. The paper, which is not buckling, I promise, and it's just absolutely amazing, is Longton Prestige. It's just really hard to get. So if anybody can put a hand on Longton Prestige, I think it's the best paper I ever tried, and I tried a lot. So that's my absolute favorite. Longton Prestige. If you want to buy it, be aware there is paper called Longton, and there is paper called Longton Prestige. So make sure you're not buying the Longton, but buying the Longton Prestige, because the Prestige is the artist quality, and the Longton is a student grade. So it's very different paper. I tried both because I accidentally ordered the wrong one, and it was immediately obvious that it's not the same paper, and then I made some research and it turned out it's not the same paper. So Longton Prestige, I really suggest. It's the most amazing paper, I think. It's like velvet. The surface is so velvety. I just love it. It's just hard to get, and it's pricey. It's probably the same price as Arches. It's hard to get because I think they stopped have it in United States, so I had to order from England. I don't know the current situation. I didn't check. Okay, so I have a watercolor pencil, but probably you can use a light, just normal pencil if you don't have watercolor pencil. And yes, I have the black and the orange paint, either Horadam or Daniel Smith, but I think probably any artist quality brand is fine. And I have just very common watercolor brushes. And sometimes I use kitchen paper towel, and that's what I suggest to everyone. But there is a really good other type of wipe called Kim wipe. It's also pricey, hard to get, but it's really good. It's just works so amazing. Like, it's really awesome to work with it. I showed the box if somebody interested. It's not that crucial, and it's pricey and everything, but it's designed not to have fibers coming off, and it's not that crucial. So if you want to spend your money, spend good watercolor paper. But if somehow you want to try a really awesome vibe, this is really awesome, I think. And kitchen paper towel work really well too. So I opened with the cat photo, and as you can see, the cat is quite white in many places. So originally I promised a white cat, a full white cat, but then I thought I can show the same thing with this cat, and you don't need to worry that much about the background. And I just want to let you know this is an experiment for me too. So I don't know how it will go. I hope it goes well. I have an idea what a dark background white cat with some spots on it. So I start to sketch out, and I always say, like, if I want a neutral position for the cat, I usually put the back of the cat close to the edge of the paper, and I leave a little bit more space front of the head. If the head is too much close to the edge, it just feel like there is something which restrict the cat. Although it's more obvious when a cat watch the eye look that is on the front side. And I choose an easy cat, so I don't have the feet and stuff. So it's probably easier to paint, because I think it will be hard anyway. I don't think it will be an easy painting with the dark background. I really don't know how it will work out. I also plan to use masking fluid. It's totally possible without masking fluid, but it's really help when you wanna paint thin lines as whiskers and stuff. So it just really helps if you have a masking fluid. So especially the face is good if you have a decent drawing, because if I use a lot of masking fluid around the face, that's pretty fixed. So it's harder to change. The body is easier to change because you just put the outline in a different position if you're not happy with your drawing or anything. But if you use masking fluid on the head, a lot of things will be fixed to that lines. So I almost think I am ready with this. So I'm going to the masking fluid now. A little bit of correction here. Yeah, so if you draw and you want to see things, like, you can imagine vertical and horizontal lines, and you can measure ratios and stuff, compare like how many times the head fit and stuff. But if you're not that precise, that still can work out pretty well. So depend on how much you bothered. So painting, I'm reading the questions and comments, and I try to answer. So feel free to put things there. So this is my masking fluid. It's good to a little bit shake it up, but not like like a crazy person, just a little bit turn it up and down to mix. Mine was leaking and I didn't recognize that. So I have to wait this to dry. I got a spot on my painting. I have to wait to dry to remove it. Don't try to remove it when it's wet if it happens to you. So I didn't know it's leaking. It never happened before, but it's leaked now. Stick. Bleak Art Materials selling the reed stick now, so you can buy it. It's not pricey at all, and I found it's an amazing tool for many things, not just for the masking fluid, but even just to draw fine lines, even with watercolor or ink. It's a really nice tool, but because it will stick on the everywhere. And also, if you use it for masking fluid, always clean off when it's dry. You can't do it when it's wet, but when the masking fluid dry, you can clean it. Try to keep it clean, and if you want to use it for other thing, for drawing, buy another one. Although I think Blick sell as a package, like 3 of them or so in a pack. So don't just have a separate one. That's my suggestion. So if you're unsure, make a little bit bigger, because you always can go to. So if you make it bigger, you can make it smaller. But if you make it too small, it's probably very hard to make it bigger. So just if you're not sure, make it a little bit bigger. But of course, the best if you get it right. It's not easy. It's many times not happening to me either. So don't think it's a requirement. So look like I'm having connection issue again, like last time. Something else. This is not really a good. I had problem last week too, so look like I need to figure out another way to connect. So when I'm using the masking fluid, I always test, and it's making thin lines. And when you do the whisker, just try to do it fast. This is. And also the shape will be like really the right curvature, I think, if you do it kind of faster. Okay. And the ear, I only draw the ear because when I paint the ear, it won't leak to the background. So it's just helpful if the ear also has some little outline. Let me know how bad is the image. Like, do you lose me a lot, or just a few seconds and it's fine after? But it's really annoying. I set up this tutorial on my webcam, and somehow it's my webcam now. So I really hope I really hope it's not too terrible. Is it very bad, the connection, or do you still kind of enjoy it? So if it's really bad, what I can do another live, like I can go to a new live, but I don't want to do that if it's possible. But I promise time it's failing me, so no, I'm not giving more. I thought last week I had a bad connection, like a bad day for my internet connection, but look like it's more common than that. So now I'm waiting for drying. It probably won't take too much time, few minutes, but while I'm doing this, I will pre-prepare a little bit the paint. So I put this, and this is my orangey colors, and this is my black in a dish. So the black is in a ceramic dish. I know it's black, look very different on a paper. So for me, it's really hard to set up a 51 color paint set. But anyway, while I'm bringing this up, for example, for it's almost the very, very similar color. So the transparent orange is very similar. You can use many, even this orange or many orangey brown for this painting. So you don't need to have exactly the one what I am using. And the lamp black is, when I tested all kind of blacks, I probably didn't test all, but I test many. I just stayed with the lamp black because it's really dark black. So it's blacker than other blacks, I think, at least for me. So I will add just a tiny bit of fresh lamp black. Not too much because I have some already, and for this painting, although actually we will need, actually we will use a lot of dark, probably black or some kind of dark colors. The background can be other bluish black or whatever you prefer. It don't need to be dark, just plain black. I hope it's coming back soon. Okay. Sorry about the quality of the internet. I'm paying for the most pricey good internet because like spray bottle or maybe even another not too big brush, but it's just a little bit harder. So I'm spraying that. And then I'm using the brush to make the water even. Also, it's removed my lines a little bit, which I'm happy about because those are just helper lines. Anybody who's painting with me, make sure you have bowls, several, because we will, like the many water will be very dark because we're painting the background also. So several bowl of water for this painting. So usually after you wet painting, after you wet the paper, you just wait a tiny bit. Not too much, to sink in, to sink in. And so now you understand. So because I'm using so much water and I wet the paper, buckling can be a problem. And this is what we discussed in the beginning. It starts to buckle, but very it's very smooth wave, so it's not. Yes, it's not a buffering. It's a horrible connection issue. I'm so sorry. But looks like if you have the masking fluid, the only question if the masking fluid is dry. So if it's dry and your paper is wet, then I think you are good to start. Yeah, I'm using iron, or I don't know, are good to start. Yeah, I'm using iron, or I don't know how to pronounce, I think iron webcam, which means that my computer through Wi-Fi getting the image from my phone, and it's not going great. And it didn't go great last week, but before it was fine. So I thought last week was an exception, but it's really bad today too. So I promise I won't use this setting anymore. This is the last time I used it. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see it stops and start again. I'm so sorry about this. So I'm and start again. I'm so sorry about this. So I'm having really dark black in my brush, and it's diluted to heavy cream consistency, and I start to add some background. And imagine, so as you people know, the pink in my brush, and it's diluted to the paint will fur out. And so now the white fur is coming from the background furring into it. So it's a very different situation than what we usually do. So you can see I'm just using a very big brush, and I just go and add the background. I'm not going right away to the cat. I leave at least a background. I'm not going right away to the cat. I leave at least half an inch or even more, because it will flow. It will flow, and I just want to make sure it's, it's not flowing too much into the area of the white cat. So I'm going a little bit around. With the head, it's especially sensitive, so around the head, maybe just wait a little bit until it's a little bit less flowy. And use really dark, kind of dense paint, I suggest, because the paper is wet, so it will dilute it up, and also every watercolor has a drying shift, so it will be dry a little bit more gray than black. But don't worry about it, it's fine, it's normal. Just this is what I'm saying, like dense color is probably now better than more diluted. So use dense paint, like really heavy cream consistency, or even maybe a little bit even denser. So I will paint the tail, and then I decide where to put the black on the bottom. I'm using another brush for the orange. So that's going to the tail. And maybe a little bit I start to add here and there also. So you can see it's furring. Paper is wet. It's a wet on wet technique. You get this beautiful furry effect. And now I add just the spots. If it's not exactly following the pattern of a cat, it's fine. If you have a cat similar, you can use your pattern, the pattern of your cat. Totally fine. Again, sorry about the quality. I have to figure out another setting. Also, I will be in Europe a lot because my parents are not in a good health. So I don't know there how the internet and things will work. So I will try, but I'm not sure it will work. So, but I will try when I go home, and we will see if it's possible, if it's enough bandwidth to do live. So if you have somewhere too much paint going into the cat, it's time to remove it now, because later it will be much harder. So I want to have a little bit more white here. Just a tiny bit on a face. So I have to do a water run soon. So I will add a little bit of shape here and there with a dirty brush color. Dirty brush color means it's a little bit like gray. So some shade here and there. And I try to add a little bit more orange here. And I try to wash back a little bit the paint here also. This is supposed to generate also a very beautiful texture on the edge if it's working well. We will see if it's happening or not. So the water pushes the paint, and it's supposed to generate a furry effect there too, where I just add very clean, plain water. It takes some time until it's developed. So we will see. I try to point it out when it's happening, and I can show it close. So I'm bringing some water. I mean, clean water, because my dish look like completely black now. So I'm back. I try to turn off the light because it's shiny. So I don't know if it will help or not. No, it won't help. I will leave it like this for a little bit. It's harder for me. My vision is worse without the lamp, but I can, like, you can see better things, I think, without the light. It's quite dark here in Seattle. The weather is pretty rainy now. So yesterday it was super sunny, so I don't know what happened. Didn't last long. So I'm still trying to add the water and push a little bit. This is what many times referred as push technique. If you search in a YouTube, push the paint and it generates so-called blooms or cauliflowers. This is how you will find. So when your paint is semi-dry, it cannot be dry, but it also cannot be very wet. And you add water, it generates these furry edges, which I'm trying to show. So that's the first round of furry edge, which happens when you paint on a wet paper or on a different spot. You add fresh, just clean water on the edge of your semi-dry paint. I just try to show it here. It will push the paint, and that's what on the internet often refer as push technique, and it's generate also a secondary furry edge. It can be quite beautiful, and I don't think any other paint can do it. Just it's very watercolor specific, and I love it, and I use as much as I can. So again, if you need to remove paint, the best method is making the paint wet and then with a clean brush, clean water, and then remove with a clean wipe if you need to do that. That's what I suggest. So I'm trying to do the drawing around the face. So it has a double chin, quite tricky, I think. So you can see I'm wiping, and in white almost. If you do it on a time and your colors is not especially staining colors, which means how much is stained the paper, you can remove with the right technique almost white. It's only possible in the beginning before it's dry completely, but it's possible. I really hope it will work better in replay. I will do a completely different setting next time. I really don't know how yet, but I will figure it out, I guess. I can use my webcam, which I used in the first 2 or 3 tutorials. It worked really well. Besides, the colors were extremely off. The colors were very weird in the videos, like super bright, almost like fiery orange and stuff like that. So this is why I stopped using, but I think I'm going back to the webcam. It was just much more reliable. And do that. Before that, I correct a little bit here, around the ear with a little black. So I'm going for a hair dryer. Normally, I would just wait for natural drying, but then it will take an hour before I can continue. So, so I'm turning on the hairdryer. It's a varnish. So I mostly just use the hairdryer around the head because that's where I have to remove the masking fluid. The whisker can stay. I actually, yes, the whisker can stay, so I can remove that later. But if I want to work on the eye or the ear, that I have to remove. So it's still, I tested, and as you can see, it still stained my fingers, so it won't work. You can't remove masking fluid until it stains your hand. So I have to dry it a little bit longer. But before I do that, I try to add a little more water to some places to get the pushback. In some places, it's in a perfect state for the pushback technique, so it's not dry work the most beautifully. This is when the pushback technique usually works the most beautifully. I will show later how beautiful is this technique. You can see here it's developing beautifully for the stripes on the tail. And I will probably use a little bit on the head, but that means I have to allow it to. Okay, so it's too dry. The head is too dry. It won't working now. So I'm just drying the head a little bit longer. Yes. Okay, let's see. It's not ideal, but it's not staining my hands, so let's try. Okay, it's coming off quite nice, so it worked. So I leave the whisker a little bit longer. We will see. So the ear, I will do it a little bit more orange, I think, than it's in a real photo. Or maybe I try to get some pink. Yeah, let's say. So I pick up just a tiny bit of pinkish color. You can use the orange actually if you want. The eye, I will use some yellowish, greenish, something. I don't know if I can remove it. Yeah, it's come off super on the end. For the nose, I again use a tiny bit of pink. So I'm switching to a thinner brush. And a little bit the mouth. Mouth, I will add a little gray, just a tiny bit of black, but very diluted. And also the outline of the head. So this is why I love the whisker, because I'm still painting around and I want the whisker stays there. So I don't want it disappearing. So for these bigger shadows around the head, I switch back to a larger brush. So I'm putting the yellow into the eye. I will make an outline after the yellow is dry, and also the pupil after the yellow is dry. So I'm adding green to the yellow. That's probably too much. So as you can see on the photo, the eye is very dark. So it's not like because the eye color of the cat is dark, it's the shadow. I will a little bit delay the decision, I guess. So first, I can do two things. Either I take a tool, which can be a stick with a tip I made, or a reed stick, and I can make the drawing of the eye. I'm sticking it to the black paint. I mean the diluted black watercolor. So I use the same trick, but probably I switched to a reed stick for now. I will use the same trick for the nose. So I'm adding a little bit like a darker, let's say brownish yellow, something like that, to the eye to darken it. And now I'm adding a little green. And yellow. And I'm again using the dirty brush color to trying to add some shape around the head. And the last step, what I will do, two of them. So I have this beautiful Sharpie pen, Faber-Castell Artist Pip pen. This is not the right tip. It has a metal tip with very thin. This one. Let's see if I get focus on it. So I really suggest this. It's a really nice tool. So I will use this around the eye, some part of the whisker. So I'm not used to have the black background, but it's really stained my hand. I'm just saying, if you try this, make sure you're aware of when your hand gets really dirty, because you can make mess with it. I'm just saying this is like a new thing for me, because I'm not used to have this black background. So I just need to think about this specifically, not to forget. Okay, so I'm trying to remove the whisker now, if I can. Make sure your finger is clean if you're doing this. Start on a white side, just easier. So you can see it's not much here. That's where I will use the pit pen a little bit, and also a little bit on the other side on a white area. Awesome, with the masking fluid, the other side. It still stained my hand, so normally I wouldn't do it, but just I want to do it because of the video. It's better to do it when it's dry. If you are at home, it's better to wait, honestly. So for this, because I need to make the line very like energetic, I like to turn only for this thing to have a better angle. And yeah, try this way. So I'm doing a little outlining. Also darkening the pupil. Maybe I even help a little bit with the ear here and there. So anybody who didn't give up yet, I will stay with you a few more minutes. So let me know if you have question or comment. I promise next week I will go back to the traditional webcam setting, because this is just really not working. No matter, it's the second time it's failing me, so I don't want to use it next time. So you still, I'm very close to finishing. It needs to dry, of course. You can see this beautiful, which I really like. This is what it's called, cauliflower or blooming of the watercolor. Also this furring out coming from the watercolor, and on the edge also you can see it here and there. Although it didn't work out as good as usually. I don't know really why, but it didn't fur out as much as it usually does. So but it's still fine. I think it's not a sharp edge. It gives you that, it has this fluffy edge. So I think that was it for today with the webcam. Yeah, the color will be crazier for sure, but whatever. I think it's still better than a jumpiness. So thank you so much for being here, and maybe not give up, although I think most of the people gave up, which I totally understand. So I will post this when it's dry and I completely finished. It will be very few touches, just tiny bit around the ear and there. I will post it on my Instagram, which is Bodor Watercolor, and so you can see how it turned out. And if you want to help me, I'm selling original on Etsy and Sati Art if you're interested. Other way you can help me really is either going to Skillshare, although I didn't have time lately to upload new videos, but I have probably 15 or so videos, but other watercolor, and that's something you can try free promotions. So sometime is free for sure, so you can figure out if you like it or not. So if you go to Skillshare and doing my tutorials, that's give me some payment for it. And the other thing, my YouTube channel is not yet there, but I really would like to make it like I really would like to monetize it. And for monetization, you need to have 4,000 watch hour. I'm not even yet have 2,000. So if you watch my videos, that's a big help. So not just looking here and there, but looking them all the way. So collecting watch hours for me, that would be really helpful. So thank you so much for doing this painting with me or being here. If you wanna add a comment or ask a question, you have a minute or two. So, and then I saying goodbye for today. So no question, then hopefully see you next week with a better setting. And I'm very sorry it didn't work out again. I was trusting it was just a one-time problem with the connection, but no, it's about the connection between the Wi-Fi connection between my phone and my computer. It's just not great, not enough fast. So thank you again, and see you next time. Bye.